Tomorrow's the day Republicans and Democrats in New York City nominate their candidates for mayor, with no fewer than 13 candidates still in the race on the Democratic side. There's a brand new ranked choice voting method that'll be used to winnow down the list. Bloomberg's Charlie Pellet explains how it'll all work.
Democrats voting in New York's mayoral primary will choose their favorite candidate as usual. But in this ranked choice election, they'll be allowed to put as many as 5 names on their ballot in order of preference. With 13 candidates running, voters will face complex decisions and a set of intricate rules. A candidate with more than 50% of the first place votes wins outright. If no one hits that mark, the candidate with the fewest first place votes is eliminated. Every ballot cast for that candidate is tabulated, and the second place votes are distributed among the field. The process repeats until just 2 contenders remain, and the one with the most votes wins. Ranked choice voting is new to New York, but not to the U.S. It was first used in a local election in Ohio in 1915. San Francisco, Minneapolis, and Santa Fe are among the cities that currently employ it in municipal elections. 5 states used ranked choice in 2020 presidential primaries or caucuses. And in 2020, Maine became the first state to adopt the system for a presidential general election. While ranked choice voting eliminates the need for runoffs, it will take time to tabulate the votes. Election officials say the winner may not be known for weeks, but with registered Democrats outnumbering Republicans by a huge margin in New York, it's likely that whoever prevails in this primary will become the city's next mayor.
Bloomberg's Skylar Woodhouse has been covering the dozens of candidates vying to become New York City's next mayor, and she joins us now. Skylar, we've had more than 1 week of early voting, but primary election day is tomorrow. And assuming that no one gets 50% of the vote, who's emerged as clear frontrunners here?
So we saw that Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, that, he is the front runner and all eyes are kind of on him right now. But trailing behind him are our former presidential candidate, Andrew Yang. We have the former Sanitation Commissioner Kathryn Garcia, and also Maya Wiley, a former MSNBC legal analyst. And, they're all right on Eric's heels, and they're really keeping they're kind of making him run for his money a little bit. I mean, Maya Wiley, she really emerged later in the race following her endorsements from U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah.
So she's creeping her way through, and we'll have to keep an eye on, how she does tomorrow.
Skylar, I'm so glad you bring that up, because I'm curious about those late endorsements from AOC, from Elizabeth Warren, from Maya Wiley. Those endorsements came, but it hasn't put her in a firm lead. What do you think is the biggest reason it hasn't done that for her?
I think the endorsements, they came later in the race. They only came a few weeks ago. It's not like we saw them months ago,
Right.
Maybe in, end of February, March, we saw them rather late. And I think that if we had possibly saw them sooner in the race versus later, her campaign might have received an extra push of momentum that she's now receiving, which is late in the race. But if she had received it early on, she might have a different place and where she stands.
One of the big themes for this election is the surge in crime. It's a big ticket item for voters, and the current frontrunner, Eric Adams, served in the NYPD for over 2 decades. Is his actual police experience helping or hurting him at a time when voters seem to want either a candidate committed to defunding the police or a candidate that really supports increased policing?
When I've spoken to a lot of voters, it's a wide range of answers. Some people, they're like, let's send out more cops. Let's send more cops. Let's get crime under control. Some people feel, New York it's a very liberal city. It's a very democratic city. Some people are like, let's take a step back. Let's not, throw police to try and solve the situation. Let's, they want to defund the police. So we're seeing very mixed things. And I think, as the crime level continues to soar, people are very conflicted as to where, or how, what's the best approach to tackle the worsening crime crisis. But Eric Adams, he was a transit cop for years, for decades, and he has that experience, and he's really using that to his advantage.
He's using that to his advantage, and it's one reason why everyone's nipping at his heels, as you mentioned. Maddie, with this ranked choice voting system, it really feels like it's a game of Survivor, where whoever gets booted off the island, everyone else has to reconfigure how they approach their strategy.
Such a reality show. And Skylar, I want to bring you into this because of the ranked voting and the kind of drama that's ensued over that. Two of the frontrunners, Andrew Yang and Garcia, have formed sort of an alliance to campaign together. To what extent could that alliance help or hurt either of their chances?
So Andrew Yang, he had slightly hinted that, he had something up his sleeve or that he might be doing something. And then on Friday, late Friday night, we got the news that him and Kathryn Garcia were going to be campaigning together. So, it's rather interesting because Kathryn Garcia, she has not directly said that, this is going to be an endorsement for, her endorsing Andrew Yang. But Andrew Yang has always kind of favored Kathryn Garcia and, has said that, in debates, he said, oh, Garcia would be my second choice. This is a very interesting tactic. And again, I think if maybe we had saw this sooner, we really might have seen, a different progression and change to, how this dual campaigning might have performed on the campaign field. Yeah. But because it did come slightly late, it's a little hard to tell how it will all play out. But we'll keep an eye out and we'll make sure to bring all the information.
Yeah, because of this new system, I guess there's room for all kinds of things to happen. Will the ranked choice voting lead to any surprising results? When you talk to people who monitor these kinds of things, what are they saying is the potential for surprise?
I think everyone's just so kind of in awe about about what's going to happen that no one's really saying. No one is saying, this is what's going to happen. It's so unpredictable kind of at this moment. I mean, tomorrow when, the polls close and the votes start coming in, we know that we're not necessarily going to get a clear winner tomorrow night on election day. We might have a lead candidate, or we might see some candidates who are doing extremely well, but we won't have a clear winner for a while. And there's kind of just been this idea or, banter that it might take weeks, maybe months, who knows?
Can you imagine not knowing a result from an election for weeks or months?
I know, it's crazy.
Skylar Woodhouse, thank you so much for joining us. And Skylar, of course, has been covering this. Maddie, so interesting to see how this will all play out. We're so used to instantaneous results, and this one could drag on for a while.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, with the ranked choice voting. I've talked to a lot of friends who joke, I don't know if this is going to have an impact, but they say things like, I'm going to vote for Paperboy Prince as my second choice just to do something funny. And we have no way of knowing how those funny things might end up actually impacting the outcome.
All those candidates are like, please don't do anything like that. Please don't do any write-ins, any surprising things.
Exactly.
Just rank us, please. Thanks for watching Bloomberg Quick Take Now. Subscribe to our channel to see the biggest stories the moment they happen from around the world, and tune in to our 24/7 live stream for global news coverage, interviews, deep dives, shows, and documentaries on the stories you care about.